Hi, folks, everyone who's joining us right now. We're just going to wait a few seconds here and let everyone get in. So just a quick hello to whoever did come in quickly to the meeting. We are expecting close to 100 participants tonight, and we're almost halfway there. So just going to wait a few more seconds here, give a few more folks an opportunity to log on. Hi again, as people continue to join this Zoom webinar. Happy to have you. We're just waiting maybe another 15 seconds or so for folks to log on. Hi, Michelle. Michelle said hello in the chat. Hello to you. Question from Mark, I see already in the chat. Maybe Kara can put the link there. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Sandy Cardoza. I'm the Associate Director of Parent and Family Relations here at Johnson & Wales. And we are thrilled to have you with us for our third family Zoom session that's being offered as part of orientation. What's great about these is that it gives you an opportunity to hear from individuals that you would have had you been able to be on campus with us this summer. So certainly the information is important, and we're glad to be able to provide this service to you. A couple of quick things about the format tonight, and if you've been with us for the past two, it will be similar in a lot of ways. So I want to start by calling your attention to the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. That's the question and answer. If you have a question that you'd like to ask to anyone on the panel, we would ask that you put it in the Q&A. The chat feature, my colleague Kara, who has been with us the past couple of weeks, and she's waving hi, she will be helping behind the scenes. So if there's resources or web links, anything like that, that we want to direct you to, Kara will be posting that in the chat. But again, we are going to look for all of the questions that you might have right in that Q&A. Speaking of the chat, it's always fun to kind of start these things out, finding a little bit out about our audience. So if everyone wouldn't mind putting in the chat where, how about we do something different this week? How about your student's name and what they're planning to study here at Johnson & Wales? That might be nice to know. Michelle, I see your comment there about this was number 2. This is actually the third webinar that we've had, and they are recorded, which you can find on our website, the orientation website, and so you can look back at the 2 that we've had. Lots of information here, different majors: culinary, criminal justice, wow, lots. Biology, excellent. Graphic design, Lydia, Katie, this is fantastic. Kyle, studying hospitality, great. Maddie, hospitality also. That's awesome. Well, we're happy to have you all with us and certainly wish the best to your students here at Johnson & Wales. So you don't want to hear from me the whole night. I know you want to hear from these wonderful people who represent different areas at the university. I'm going to start by giving them each an opportunity to say hello, tell you a little bit about themselves and the services that their office provides here at Johnson & Wales. So let's start with Aileen.
Hello, my name's Aileen D'Arruda, and I've been with the university for nearly 15 years, and I'm an academic counselor.
I'm not hearing Aileen.
No?
No one?
You can hear me? Okay.
Sorry.
Let me start over. My name's Aileen D'Arruda. I am an academic counselor here at the university. I've been here for about 15 years. My area is housed within Student Academic Services, And I work with the hospitality students down city. And my office is located in the Student Services Center across from a street from Xavier. And also where Student Financial Services has their offices as well. However, we also have academic counselors down at the Harborside campus as well that specialize with the culinary students. So academic counselors, you might be wondering, you know, what is it that we do? We help students, you know, stay on track, making sure that they're taking the classes that they need to take in order to graduate, you know, as well as other ideas that they could do within their program. You know, they can come see us. Maybe they want to change their major or declare a specialization, or, you know, look into an internship. Do they have room? They would come meet with us, and any and all academic policies as well. They'd want to come see their academic counselor.
Great. And sorry about that mix up. I do hear you perfectly now. All right, how about Donna next?
Hey everyone, my name is Donna Remington and I am the Director of Career Services here at the university. My career story started here in 1999 and in University Admissions Marketing, followed by 5 years in University Communications, where I managed our first generation website, which makes me sound really old for the web, and started my journey with experiential education and career services in 2006 and found my home. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy doing, working with your students, is helping them to find their passion and how to turn their passions into experiential learning opportunities, internships, part-time jobs, any sort of experience that helps them towards what their goals are. We have a staff that are ready and waiting to work with your students, and that really starts day one. It's a tragedy for us when students walk in as a senior saying, I need help getting a job, and we ask, when are you graduating? And they say, tomorrow. So considering the world that we're in and how hard it is to get started in your career, we really want to see your students as soon as they're on campus and they're settled. Just come and meet with us and chat with us and learn a little bit more about what we do and how we can help them through their journey here. So.
Great. All right, going in order of what I'm seeing on my screen, we'll go with Wendy next.
Great. Hi, everyone. Wendy Alaman, Director for our Academic Success Center. I've been with Johnson & Wales for a little over 2 years, and previously was at other institutions, also working in the same area in academic support services. Our department offers a variety of services with the goal of supporting and boosting our students' academic success. Much like Donna, our hope and goal is that students start utilizing our services the minute they step on campus. Especially during the first year, we want to support our students in their successful transition to Johnson & Wales. So what do we offer? One service that we offer is we have something called academic success coaching. Students can come in and meet with our professional staff to talk about time management, study strategies, note-taking skills, things like that. We also have workshops related to academic skill building. So your students may be interested in participating in some of those workshops and how to transition, how to be a successful student. Our most popular service is our subject-based tutoring. We have tutoring in a variety of different subjects, especially the entry-level area, accounting, biology, chemistry, economics, math, and writing, to name a few. We find that the students who access our services from the beginning of the term do wonderfully. Students can access services anytime, as many times as they like throughout the year. All the services that we offer are included in the JWU tuition. In terms of writing, our writing service we refer to as our writing lab. Students can utilize any of our services for any class. For writing, students tend to think that's just for English composition, but if they have a writing assignment for accounting, criminal justice, any class at all, if writing is an assignment, they can come in and seek support and assistance for their writing. We also have another service that's available 24 hours, 7 days a week, and that's called Smart Thinking. So students can either meet with our campus tutors, or they can access Smart Thinking, which is really wonderful, especially if they're seeking support for math, for example, in the middle of the night and it's 2 a.m. and they have a question they really need answered right now. They can get online and get assistance with a live tutor. So those are some of our services. I know we haven't necessarily talked about locations and where we are. If you come to our campus, you can find our location down city in the Johnson Wales, in John Hazen White, or at Harborside. We're also in the Freeman Center. That's a little bit about our office. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Wendy. And I do see two questions that have come into the Q&A. I'm going to just ask Nina, give Nina an opportunity to say hello and talk about her area, and then we'll get right into the questions. So hi, Nina.
Sure. Hello. My name is Nina Schertzy-Tobin, and I work with the Accessibility Services Department as an advisor. I am closing in on my first year at JWU, but I have worked in the field of special education as a teacher and a department and regional director for about 20 years. So what is accessibility services at the college level? Accessibility services is the department that makes sure that students have access to reasonable accommodations, whether they're academic or physical or to do with their housing. And JWU is dedicated to providing these reasonable accommodations to give students with a diagnosed disability the opportunity to be successful in their academic and social and professional pursuits at Johnson & Wales. So how does that work at the college level? And it's important to understand that it is very different from high school. K through 12, students are protected under IDEA, which is a federal education law. When you graduate from high school, the IEP or 504 plan that you may have had is no longer valid. It is still an informative document, and it is something that our department can use to advise us in creating an accommodations plan. But in order to receive reasonable accommodations in college, you do have to come in and self-disclose with our department. We can't make any assumptions. Your instructors can't make any assumptions. Your parents can't come in and create a plan for you. So this is something that you get to do. You have agency as an adult starting out your academic career here at JWU. And so you would have to come in, like I said, and to self-disclose with our department. We would request that you provide some documentation, and then we would guide you through the process of creating an accommodations plan. And those plans can range. They can just involve housing. They can have to do with having access to food and drink during class if you have diabetes. They have to do with receiving maybe some extra time for timed exams, and a whole myriad of other accommodations in between. So once you do disclose with our department, we would have you sign a couple of forms, and then we help you to develop the skills of self-advocacy with your professors or with other people that you work with. And we oversee testing in our testing center. We have two offices also. One is down city at the John Hazen White building. One is in the Freedman Center on the Harborside campus, which is where I am. And we do very strongly encourage you that if you did have any sort of plan, or if you experience any sort of mental health diagnosis, any sort of physical diagnosis, that you come and disclose with our department, because it's really good to know what options you have. And it's good to put those things in place. Maybe you'll never ever use them, but if the need does arise, because this is a totally new environment with totally new expectations and a number of things that you'll be managing independently, some of you for the first time in your life, that it is good to have kind of that plan, that protection, that safety net in place for you should the need arise. Or you use it a bunch in the beginning, and if you find that there are some things that you may not need in time, then the plan is always able to be adjusted. So let's see.
That's definitely a lot of good advice there, Nina, for the families and parents who are with us tonight to definitely relay to their students. Because I know, and Nicole, your colleague in Accessibility Services, always stresses how important it is for the student to actually take that step. As much as the parents and families want to help their student along, that the student needs to actually do that.
Absolutely.
So,
And
all
one
right.
thing
I'm
happened-
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, there was just one more thing. We do know that sometimes you as a student during the admissions process may share that IEP or 504 plan. That doesn't mean that our department gains access to that document. So if you've already shared it, but you haven't spoken with somebody in Accessibility Services, we just encourage you to share the document again or reach out to us just to kind of close that loop.
Great.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, so real quickly, everyone might have noticed that the meeting is being recorded. There's two reasons for that. One, we are going to post this on our parent and family orientation website. So for any folks who, for whatever reason, weren't able to join us live tonight, they would be able to look back and still get this information. The other thing, and I'll put this out there now, and I will probably repeat it maybe about halfway in. If we see a lot of repeat questions, we're going to try to avoid that so we can make sure we get everyone's first questions in and get as much covered as we can. So again, if by some chance you ask a question that's already been asked, we will either put a written note to you, or we'll just let you know that you're welcome to go back to the recording and find the answer to that. All right, so with that said, let's get going. This first question is for Wendy. Is tutoring peer tutoring or provided by staff?
Can you repeat that question?
Is tutoring peer tutoring or provided by staff?
Thank you. That's one thing I forgot to mention. So tutoring is provided by peers and professionals. I think the ratio peer to professional is about 50-50. We have professional tutors in math, in accounting, economics, chemistry. This coming year, we will also have professionals in biology and engineering. And then we have peers in a variety of subjects across the board, including writing.
Thank you. So there's a number of questions here, Aileen, that I think I can kind of lump together for you, things focusing on schedules. Question about when will students get their final schedule? If a first year student hasn't seen their schedule yet, should they be taking any action at this point? Let's start with those two.
Okay, sure. So as we all know, Student Academic Services creates all new incoming student schedule for their first term. And as long as your student has taken the placement exam, their schedule will be created for them. We began scheduling students back on July 1st. And we have a dedicated team that does that. It does take a little bit of time. So we thank you for your patience so far. I know everyone's eager to see what classes that you're going to be in. But as long as you have taken the placement exam, whether that be, you took it maybe 3 weeks ago, you should be seeing it within the next week or so. Or if you have taken it just recently, I would give it at least another 2 weeks. Again, because they're doing all the scheduling for all new incoming freshmen. But once they're scheduled, you can find your student schedule on the academics page of JWU Link. You'll go, there's an area for course registration, and there's a link for view course schedule.
Okay. Thank you for that. So, and another parent is asking, or another family member here, aside from classes switching to online after November 20th, when will students know which classes are actually online and which are in person or which are hybrid? And I've seen a lot of that on our parent and family social media too, Aileen, kind of figure out what they're seeing yet.
Yes, so this is a big question that we're getting, nearly, every day in the call center. So students will have like 2 course deliveries this upcoming fall semester. They'll have the hybrid, where they will they'll be given a building, a room number that they'll be going to, And our maximum for the enrollment for the classes will be 30. And the instructor will take it upon themselves to split the class into 2 groups. And group A would go, let's say, for example, if it was a Monday, Wednesday, we'll go Monday to class, and group B will be like live streaming, like a Zoom from home or in the dorms. And then on Wednesday, group A stays home and group B will live stream. We then have the remote delivery courses. These courses do not have a building designated. So that means that these courses will be conducted remotely, so online. However, the difference is that even though they're not required to be on campus for these classes, they are going to be required to be online live streaming during their class meeting times. So if you view your student schedule for the building code, you'll either see REM for remote, or you'll see a building designated. If you don't see a building designated, at this point in time, that class will be a face-to-face class meeting. It's just that they have not assigned a room to it yet.
Okay. And am I right that we always encourage students to check it right up until maybe the few days before classes begin, because there can be tweaks and things like that?
Absolutely. So we always tell students, you know, what you see now could change. A lot of times it could have been, you know, the class, the building, the room number, or maybe even a class might have gotten canceled and we might have swapped into a different, just moved you into a different section. But even now, because of these times and how classes are being delivered, you don't know, maybe that face-to-face might change into a remote delivery. So, you know, just by 24 hours before classes begin, everything will be finalized, hopefully beforehand. But that's why we always tell students, just, you know, be sure to, you know, double check, and, you know, the day before classes begin.
Okay. If student has AP credit that ends up coming in that we get record of, Aileen, when would they know if their schedule's being changed because of that?
So as far as, so you had your AP scores sent over to Johnson & Wales, our transfer and testing team will, you know, evaluate those scores. And if transfer credits have been awarded, they will give a heads up to our scheduling team, and they will adjust your schedule accordingly.
Okay. There was a question here for Nina. What's the difference between the LEAP program and accessibility services?
Sure. Well, accessibility services is available to all students free of charge, and is specifically geared toward maintaining their ability to access reasonable accommodations for, like I had said before, kind of their academic, physical, or housing needs. So the LEAP program is an additional fee-based program that Johnson & Wales is offering throughout the school year, where LEAP participants become part of a cohort, and that cohort has an additional course that is geared around developing self-advocacy skills, social emotional learning skills, problem solving, a lot of executive function skill work, and I guess it's providing an additional kind of step up into college and to promoting the ability to independently navigate the rest of their college career. And it is a program that students who have, you know, diagnoses around executive function or like processing, things like that, would really benefit from. And so there is an application process for LEAP, whereas accessibility services, you can come in, make an appointment, and we can see if we can put an accommodation plan in from there. But there will be a lot of overlap. Obviously, students in LEAP will likely have accommodations plans as well.
Great. Maybe Wendy and Donna could weigh in on, I think it kind of applies to all these areas, but how does a student reach out for service?
I can go first. So for services, the best way, we encourage students to call our general number, which is 401-598-1485. And the reason why we encourage that is just there's a person on the other line that can ask the student questions so they can connect them to the best person possible, whether that's a peer or a professional, or it's based on the type of assignment that the student is trying to seek support with. Students can also make appointments through USucceed, and USucceed is a little bit more complex. Until the students get familiar with it, the best way is to make a phone call, but sooner, because they have to make appointments with Aileen and USucceed, maybe their professors, they'll eventually get used to USucceed and we'll be able to make appointments through that avenue as well. The advantage of having USucceed is they can make appointments at any time of the day for the next day. If they discover at midnight, actually I need help tomorrow, they can get online and make those appointments.
For experiential education and career services, students can either call our main number at 401-598-1070, and I believe that's going to be put into the comments so that you'll have that later. They can also reach out by email at careerservices.pvd@jwu.edu. And finally, they can connect with us through link. If they go into link and click on jobs and internships, that is the page for our department with a lot of resources for them. But if they click on schedule an appointment, that will bring them into Handshake. And Handshake is our recruitment platform that we use for appointments to notify students of any jobs or internships that have been posted, as well as all of our employer recruitment events. And we're planning a whole host of employers on campus for the fall, which kicks off on actually September 10th from 11 to 3 will be the part-time job fair. So if your student is looking for part-time work in the local community, we will be bringing in local employers for that. We will be doing the fair virtually this year, and that will actually help us, we believe, with employers who have been pretty busy and get them into that fair and get them chatting with students. And we'll be preparing students for that as well. So them scheduling an appointment early is actually really great for them because we will be prepping them for what is it like to go to a virtual career fair, and how do I use video chat or text chat when talking to an employer about the opportunities that they have, and we can help them navigate that system, as well as how to apply for the openings and hopefully get an interview and a job out of it.
And Donna, there was a follow-up that came in about internships. Can you speak to when students usually start exploring internship, or when they actually do their first internship?
So internships really vary depending on what their major is. So it's different for every student. So we work pretty closely with Eileen's office in Student Academic Services in terms of every student has a degree audit that they can look at, or GPS, and they can look up for their major, how many credits is the internship for their major, because that varies as well depending on what their program is and when they might take it. So for instance, if you're a culinary student, you're most likely going to take your internship in your sophomore year. But if you stay with us for a bachelor's program, there could be another opportunity for internship when you get to that level. It all depends how you choose to use your experiential learning credits. And so what we do is we want to start talking to students early about things that they may be interested in, or if they have absolutely no idea what they're interested in, we help them to explore that as well, and then figure out when is the best time for them based on their program. And other factors too, like maybe based on the industry. So if you're a marketing student, a lot of internships for marketing are in the summer, and they don't have as many in the fall. So depending on program, we'll work with the student too to make sure that they're aligning themselves with industry. Particularly important for, let's say, like a sports student who, if they're interested in working for, doing an internship with the NFL, then they need to know how to back out their time frame for applying so that they're placed in the internship during the season for that particular sport. So there's lots of variables that we're working with students on that for.
And I think that speaks to what you were saying in your intro too, Donna, about how important it is for students to connect with your office and probably all of these offices really early on, even if they've got their dreams or aspirations, whatever they might be. We have folks who can help them find a path to get there. They just need to kind of open that door early enough.
Exactly. And so many students that are looking at grad school, we can help students with that too, in terms of when do they apply, and connecting them with faculty, researching schools, critiquing personal statements, that type of information.
Sure. So Aileen, this is probably a quick answer for you. When do they start scheduling for second semester?
October 17th. It opens up for seniors, or if a student has priority registration, and then it trickles down, a few, it's all based on their earned credit hours. So it will open up for about 2 weeks from, the 15th on. It will open up every couple of days to a different group of students. But October 15th, it begins.
So considering that the majority of the folks on with us tonight are families of first-year students, I'm sure there are some transfer students as well, but they're probably looking later in October, correct?
November 2nd.
Okay. And then there's a question about placement testing. So two kind of, one, if a student took their testing late, do they risk being blocked out of certain courses, like if they filled up? And also, if a family is having just trouble for whatever reason getting the placement testing done, can they just say, can they waive it because the student wants to take entry level anyway?
So as far as the first question, no. If you take your exam, your placement exam, it doesn't matter if you take it the day before. You will not be, closed out of classes. You will get the classes that you need. We'll make sure of that. And then as far as the testing site, I know it can be a headache sometimes, but I would suggest calling our call center at 401-598-1088 and ask to be transferred to the transfer and testing team, and they can assist you with hopefully being able to take that placement exam. So to answer your question, you have to take the placement exam. You can't just, just put me in basic math. You'll need to take it. And based upon that score, if your student does want to take basic math, we can discuss if they placed higher, if they want to retake it, we can discuss that.
Okay, thank you. So academic support, Wendy, are all subjects available in both Down City and Harborside? And Mark's asking specifically about tutoring here, but do you offer that for all subjects on both campuses? You're muted, Wendy.
Okay, there we go. I said I think I was having problems with the speaker as well as the mic. I think I heard the question correctly. Do we offer services at both locations?
Yeah, Mark asked about tutoring specifically for all subjects. I mean, I know you have a presence on both campuses.
Yeah. Yes, we have a presence on both campuses, but we do not offer tutoring for all subjects. That would be a lot of classes and a lot of resources and many more tutors than we currently have. But we do offer tutoring for quite a bit of the entry level courses. I would say the highest demand type of support that students seek is writing. And again, I mentioned students can come in for writing assistance, not just for English composition, but for any course. So we see most of our appointments are for writing, and then followed by math, so that students can come in for that's the one area I would say of math where we have quite a bit of coverage all the way through calculus 2. We see most students for more of the entry level math, algebra and survey of college math. Those are some of the subjects that we see most demand. And then there's some other areas where we see students are seeking a lot of support in accounting, for example, and economics.
And if the particular subject, let's say if the student's a culinary student down on Harborside, would they be able to get tutoring for math on Harborside? Or?
Yes, so we have writing support on Harborside, math support. We also have some culinary related support in terms of cost control, or students may come in and want to review formula conversions for recipes and things like that for baking. So we see a lot of that at Harborside. We also see students come in for nutrition as well at Harborside. So there's quite a bit of offering at Harborside, but students can go to either campus for services.
Okay, thank you. And just quickly, I know, I am positive, Aileen, your area, Donna, XED, you are on both campuses as well. Nina, what about accessibility services? Are you in both locations?
Yes, we are. So on the Harborside campus, there are 2 advisors, Shelley, Lawson, and myself, and we oversee all of culinary, baking, the graduate school, and hospitality. And then down city, we have everything else. Oh, we also oversee online, but down city, there's also an office on the 2nd floor of the John Hazen White building. And you can also take tests, exams there, meet with advisors there as well.
Great. And just for what it's worth for all, we often encourage families to encourage your students to get around to both campuses. Just because they're a down city student doesn't mean they can't go to Harborside, and vice versa. Culinary Harborside students are certainly welcome to come down city. So whether it's for the dining halls or whatever, really take advantage of everything that's offered across the whole campus. Wendy, did you want to add something real quick?
I did. I also wanted to just say that we have tutoring remotely as well. And I mentioned Smart Thinking in addition to our folks that can do remote tutoring. But the other thing about our course listing, I always encourage faculty, advisors, staff, parents to just encourage their student to give us a call and ask if we offer tutoring for that subject. Because we have a long list of subjects, and sometimes those subject changes based on our peer tutors. For example, they may have done really well in a course last semester, and they'll say, you know what, I can also tutor that subject. And it's really important that they just give us a call and just check in with us before assuming that we don't have it available. So just encourage your student to give us a ring.
Great. All right, a few for Aileen here again. When are AP scores posted to student accounts?
It depends on when we receive them. So if we have already received them, I always tell students at least 5 to 10 business days. If not, give us a little longer because our transfer and testing team are evaluating all transcripts of our new incoming transfer students. So they're receiving a lot of transcripts and AP scores. But they're going through them as quickly as possible, but I would say at least 5 to 10 business days.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit maybe about the rationale that goes into how first semester students are placed into the classes that they are? Because there's a family that's wondering why their daughter was put in a certain class, environmental science to be specific.
Okay.
But,
so all new incoming students, as well as any student, if you access your student's GPS, there is a plans tab under the name of your student, and a planner has been developed or created, and this planner was created by the deans and the department chairs of the college of the student's major. And as far as, why are they placed in certain classes? So there is a science elective that a student has to complete. And of our science offerings, it's either Intro to Life Science or Environmental Science. Those are more the entry level, the intro levels, which students tend to take. So the reason they were registered for that class would be that reason, because again, those are what the students typically take, either that Intro to Life Science or Environmental Science. But, as far as, why students are registered for certain classes, it is based upon that planner that, again, your dean and the department chairs of their college have created for their program in order to graduate within the 4 years.
Okay, thank you. And two people followed up just asking if you could explain what is GPS?
GPS is your grad planning system. It is the most phenomenal tool. It can be also a very overwhelming tool. And you can find this on the academics page of JWU Link. There's a big blue box, an icon, GPS, and it says grad planning system. And it's personalized. So that's really neat towards your student. And what it does is it's showing the student every single course that they need to complete in order to get that degree. And as I, just said, it can be a little overwhelming because when you first pull it up, you will see the courses. So it will show you the courses that you're registered for. And as they progress, it will show them the courses that they've taken, those that they're currently in and still need. But when you first pull that up, especially for those, new incoming students, all you see are the still needed. So don't panic. That's why I always tell students to click on the plans tab. And you can find that under your name. It's plans, not the planner tab. Because what we've done is that audit on that first page, it's all mapped out very nicely over the next 4 years. So students, when I show them that, they take a deep, sigh of relief when they see that it's all been mapped out for them. But it's the most, I think, phenomenal tool. Like back in my day, I'm always saying I used to carry my catalog for the whole time I was in college with pencil marks and crossing out what class I needed to take next. But now with this GPS, they have it right at their fingertips.
I have to agree with you 100%. And my son is a JWU grad. I think most of you know, but I thought that GPS was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, I would definitely encourage all the parents and family members on tonight to look at your students' GPS with them. It is a super, super helpful tool. So we had talked about how, there's a potential that classes could change. So there's a good question here. Then what about books? How soon should students start ordering books?
So when I mentioned about the classes change, I meant the class delivery, meaning it could go from face-to-face to remote. The class itself won't change.
Okay.
So you'll be fine with the books.
So the location could change, but if they're seeing something in their schedule today, they're taking that class, it will be on their schedule for the start of classes?
It will be on their schedule, yes.
Okay.
The only other reason that it could change is we've gotten a lot of questions about AP scores. Maybe what we've registered for the fall semester was based before the AP score came in, and now they've received credit. So now we've adjusted their schedule. So it could change, in that scenario.
All right. And that actually was a follow-up here too about when would they know if the schedule's changing due to AP? Is that again, you mentioned the 5 to 10 days or something.
I'm sorry. Yep. And then the best way and probably the quickest for you, the student, to find out if you received that credit for your AP class would be to check that GPS. Because when you pull it up, you'll see that you have a course already satisfied and it will say TR for transfer credits.
Okay. A student who is interested in something like the 3+3 law program, how soon should they start talking with someone about that?
I would start, let's get acclimated, that first month, but definitely come on in, meet with your assigned academic counselor. So as I said, everyone's assigned their academic counselor, and for that particular program, your academic counselor would be down city. But to find out who your academic counselor is, you'll go into My Success Network, which is in USucceed. And USucceed can also be found on JWU Link. It's on the left-hand side. It's one of the links towards the bottom. So if you click on that, you'll be brought into it's called My Success Network. And it's compiled of your academic counselor, your financial planner, your instructors just for that term. So that obviously will change each semester, as well as your faculty advisor. You can make your appointment with that academic counselor. So I would say by week 3, 4 of the semester, make that appointment just to, get the ball rolling and get an idea of what you should be doing or, preparing to do for that program.
Okay. So there's a couple of questions coming up here, related to the whole COVID situation. And we talked about schedule on a class on the schedule today. It listed as an actual class may change to remote online the day or so before class. Same thing, are all in-person classes being split into 2 groups each? So each student would only have a maximum of 1 in-person class per week per class. I mean, I know it's obviously this whole situation feels like it's changing daily, if not hourly, but can you, to the best of your ability, explain what's happening as far as, whether students being in class? I think in reality, like in any given year, we always tell students to check their schedule right before classes start because, say, the building location might change or something like that, but it's kind of opened up some other questions here.
Right. And, I don't mean to keep repeating myself, but, check your schedule to see if the course delivery will change. Meaning it's not going to change from remote to on campus. That, won't happen, but it could possibly change from being in-person delivery to remote. And to answer the question about, as far as how often will they be in class? Yes. So for one class that meets twice a week, your student will only be in the classroom 1 day a week. And this is to, to reduce density in the class. So if they're in 4 classes, 3 are remote and 1's in person, then yes, they'll only be going to class 1 day a week.
Okay. Do all students have an individual phone call or Zoom meeting with their counselor regarding their program of study and requirements needed to complete? So sort of like connecting with academic counselors, Aileen.
So right now during the summer, if we are doing phone appointments and, definitely emails, and you can make that appointment through your Success Network. However, once school starts, we'll also be sending out a welcome email and encouraging students to make that appointment with us because, as everyone knows, your schedule was created for you this first semester. So now moving forward, you're going to be on your own, and registration, believe it or not, even though maybe November 2nd seems really far away, it crawls up pretty quick. So we encourage the students to make those appointments with us. But as I said, we're taking phone appointments, emails. If you would like a Skype appointment or a Zoom, by all means, we could do it that way, whatever you're comfortable in doing.
But once they're on campus and they're started, they're not required to go meet with their counselors. Am I correct? But we certainly recommend it.
Yeah, they're not required, but I always tell students it's highly recommended.
Sure.
At least just pop in, 2 times a year, just to make sure that, you're taking the classes that you should be taking that semester. As I said, that GPS can get a little sometimes tricky to read. And we just want to make sure that, you're taking the classes that you need to take to avoid any kind of hiccup, down the road for you. But no, they're not required, but it's highly, strongly recommended to come on in and meet with us.
Great. Donna, the date of that part-time job fair again was what?
It is Thursday, September 10th, 11 to 3. Students can log into Link, Jobs and Internships, Career Events. That will bring them into Handshake, where they can actually register for the event. They can look up the employers who are coming, what they're hiring for. They can look at the jobs. They can apply to the jobs in advance and find out more. And if they're a little worried about, what their resume might look like, even though a lot of high school students might be working on a resume as an assignment, now they're in college, it's already changed by the time they walk in the door. So we're ready to help them prep for that event and have their resume ready. But I don't want that to be a deterrent either. So if they're worried about getting everything done on time and getting settling in because we're having it so quickly, don't worry about that. Just attend the fair. The employers know that this event is geared to our incoming freshmen. It's open to all JWU students, but incoming freshmen is, and transfer students is really our focus for this event. And our employers have been prepped and ready, knowing that students may not have, obviously a senior level resume walking in the door, and that's fine. We want them to come.
Great. Aileen, how do academic counselors differ from academic advisors?
Great question. So academic counselors, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are here to make sure that your student is taking the classes that they need to take in the order that they need to take in order to get that ultimate goal, their bachelor's degree or the degree. Their faculty advisors are wonderful too to have, because the faculty advisors have been in the field, the industry. So whether your student may be questioning, is this the right major for myself? Will this get me that dream job that I really want? That's when you want to have that conversation with your faculty advisor. Now, the faculty advisor can also assist with scheduling as well. But they're phenomenal as far as their experience in the field and industry, where students can reach out to them with any questions that they may have.
Awesome. And Shannon's asked a question here about how much choice freshmen or first year students have over spring scheduling, given the fact that we schedule them for the fall. It's pretty much up to them, right? I don't know if you can want to speak to that.
Yeah, so it's up to them. They'll have, free choice. They can pick the days and times, whatever they wish to take. And quite honestly, too, if for any reason a new incoming student wants to change their schedule for the fall, they can look into that the weekend before, or beginning the Friday before classes begin. However, we always tell students, just be careful. We will be available to meet with them. But the classes that you're in are highly recommended to take your first term, because they are prereqs to other courses that you're going to need down the road. But as far as that spring semester, yeah, they'll be on their own. They can pick whatever days and times they wish.
Does the same apply to culinary or baking and pastry students? I'm curious with the labs, if they have to be a little bit more.
Right. So
structured.
as far as our baking and pastry and culinary lab students, their schedules will be created for them the first 2 years, their labs.
Oh.
As far as if they get AM labs and want PM labs, they can reach out to their academic counselor. It's not always a guarantee. It matters, it more depends upon if there's room in the lab, especially now moving forward with the guidelines that we have to follow.
Right.
But they would work with their academic counselor if they could change the times
Right.
of their labs.
And will they get to pick their own academic courses? Is it just
Yes,
the
they can
labs
pick
that?
their academic, yep.
Actually, Andrew's asking a question here about labs, kind of how are they going to work this year? If a lab is Monday, Wednesday, will both of them be face-to-face in the lab?
So with the labs, they are going to be the full week. So they don't meet 2 days a week, the labs. And the instructor, the chef will be dividing the groups up.
Okay.
Okay.
And Andrew, I see the rest of the question here about getting uniforms. If your student has ordered their uniforms, they'll be shipped to the home. Knife kits are delivered when they arrive on campus, or provided to the student. So, at least it's saying it looks like all of her daughter's classes are online. Are they doing all online except for labs?
No, we do have some academics that are in person. So if she's coming to campus and she really wants to do an in-person class, I would suggest that she reach out to the academic counselor, her assigned academic counselor, to see if possibly we could change any of those classes over to in-person.
Okay. How many classes do first semester first year students typically take in that first
5.
5. Bob aids, reference cards, white pages or flow charts to provide incoming freshmen with reference aids for using all these tools. So like, you know, how do students learn about using JWU Link, USucceed, GPS, things like that? I mean, I can put a plug out there for Wildcats First, which is a program that our office is involved in, and it's specifically to help students with their transition and learn about all these things. But do you have anything else, Aileen, that you can recommend?
Their academic counselor. But as you just mentioned, we have the Wildcats First. Some programs do have an academic counselor that comes on in to their classroom to explain their GPS and registration. But the best way to learn about all these phenomenal tools that you have at your fingertips is to make that appointment with your academic counselor.
And I think some of the residence halls the RAs might do some programming too, and certainly talking to RAs for our resident students is another good resource. So let's see, will students be expected to be in their hall for online classes? If the student has a roommate, could this be distracting? So
To my knowledge, no. I have not heard anything different. It will be a remote delivery, so to my understanding, they could be, you know, in the library if it's open, and no, they are not. And again, as of today, July 22nd, I have not heard anything where you need to be in your dorm or at home, well, more at your dorm. Yeah, I haven't heard anything different.
okay. And I guess a little more clarification on how a student would find who their academic counselor is. That's in USucceed that you talked about, right?
Yep, so if you go into USucceed, you can access it through JWU Link. On the academics page, you'll be brought into My Success Network. And you'll see the assigned academic counselor there. That's where you can make the appointment. You'll even see a link for your academic counselor on your GPS. You can email them over to the right-hand side. Your academic counselor as well as your faculty advisor will be listed. And if you hover over either of our names, you can send an email that way. But the best way would be to go into My Success Network through USucceed.
Okay. A couple of questions here about the culinary uniforms. So folks saying they weren't aware that they needed to be ordered and things like that. What I can suggest is both for the families, if you look through the online orientation module or ask your student to log back onto the student module, and when they go through the College of Culinary Arts information, there's a page dedicated to uniforms. And it talks about how your student should have received an email with more instructions about getting that uniform ordered. They also are welcome to call the orientation office tomorrow, and we can try to get them connected with that as well. But have them definitely watch their Wildcat email. All right, biology labs, how will those be handled?
The biology lab, so they only meet once a week. As far as, and I believe, so they already lowered the enrollment of the lab. So they are already at the max. So they'll be going once a week for the biology lab.
Okay. There's a person saying they're not seeing the academics tab on JWU Link. Could that be an issue where authorized user, does the authorized user not see it, or?
Right, it could be that, yeah, because when you go on to JWU Link, it's on the left-hand side. Let's see, so it's, you know, right under your new student checklist, but it could be the authorized user. Yes, you're correct. So if you're having any difficulty, maybe have your student log on, and you can at least view it there, and they could guide you through it just to get you an idea of what it looks like.
Okay. And Elizabeth is questioning, will locations be limited to how many students can be there? Since so many students will be taking classes online, will there be enough space for them to socially distance throughout campus, particularly the library? I don't know if, trying to think. I mean, how about, do any of you, like Donna, you tend to have foot traffic in your office. Has anything been announced yet as far as, limiting the number of bodies that can be in there, or?
Yeah, I think all of the departments on campus have been working on plans with our facilities management and emergency management teams in terms of physical distancing, putting up things like plexiglass shields for visitors into the office. Depending on the office location, there will be arrows on the floor. So similar to if you've been to the store and you've seen the social distancing arrow, directional arrows.
Right.
So for instance, in our Down City office, we have a main entrance, and then we have an entrance that goes into the main hallway of John Hazen White right across from academic support. And that leads up to the classrooms in that building as well. So students will actually enter through the main entrance at the corner of Pine, and then they'll come through our office out to the main hallway to exit to, keep everyone safe. Our office, certain offices could be different. We both offices, both at Harborside in Friedman, as well as John Hazen White, will have a physical presence. So we will have staff there to welcome students at all times. We are encouraging students to do virtual appointments with us. Again, just to keep safety involved. And if there's one thing we've learned through this, we have had actually pretty amazing conversations with students virtually to help them through this transition. And we haven't seen any difference in both the way the student takes action versus the conversation that takes place. It's been pretty seamless for us, and we've been really happy about that. We would definitely worry about that because we're a pretty hands-on department with students. But I know that the library will have the same type of rules in place for spacing. So it may not be the typical capacity, but
Right.
like many of our offices, there are 2 library locations as well. One down
Yeah,
City,
you're right.
and one at Harborside. And there's open spaces in good weather, and there's other public spaces on campus as well.
Sure. Definitely. All right. Aileen, back to you. Do you know if parents can access the You Succeed and GPS, or is it just students?
Just the student. So your student would have to give you their login information in order for you to view that information.
Yeah, or sit down together and look at it, right? It's a nice thing to start a conversation maybe. Question about uniforms, and I don't know if any of us, or if Aileen, if you'd be able to answer this, or maybe Donna, but is there a uniform required for food and beverage / restaurant industry management?
No, there is not.
Isn't there's a hospitality program where they do take some labs? Is it food and beverage management?
Yes, if they have the labs within, right. So when it comes time for their culinary labs, yes, a uniform will be required. I apologize. I thought you were talking about a specific course that I was thinking of. But yes, when the time comes for them to do their culinary labs, they will be required to for uniforms.
Okay. Andrew, you have a question here. What is Wildcats First? So Wildcats First is a program that we've designed. This will be, I believe, the 3rd year of Wildcats First. And we look at what are the kind of questions that pop up for students at different times in the year. So for instance, when it's getting close to time to register for their spring semester courses, there'll be a Wildcats First program on that where students can learn about registering. All kinds of just, again, topics that tend to be common across the board for first-year students and their transition to Johnson & Wales, not just Johnson & Wales, but transition to college in general. And what can we give them in terms of resources, information, and contacts to help them be successful. So definitely encourage your students to watch for that, and whether, if we're able to get anything done on campus in person safely, I'm sure we'll look at that, but if not, there will be a virtual program. So we would love to hear students involved with Wildcats First. Any kind of dress code for hospitality classes? Pretty much
No dress code.
All right, well, gosh, according to my screen, it looks like we have addressed all of the questions that have come in, and we're just about 5 minutes over the hour point. So this is usually when we would wrap it up. We know that everyone has lots and lots of questions, especially this year with everything that's going on, and we encourage you to continue to communicate with us with any questions that you have, or certainly have your students reach out as well. Any closing comments from you, Nina, before we sign off?
No, thank you.
You're welcome. How about Wendy?
No, just encourage your student to visit us, and if you feel like they could use our support, just encourage them to give us a call.
Donna?
Same as Wendy, we're here and we're ready to start helping them as soon as they come on campus.
Absolutely. And Aileen?
Same, encourage your student to make that appointment with their academic counselor. That way, we set them up for success.
For sure. Yeah, we are here to help all of our students. We just need them to take the step and let us know that they need the help. So glad to have everyone with us tonight. Just a quick heads up, next week, same time, same place, although it's a different link, you would need to register again, will be auxiliary services. So that's IT, information technology, bookstore, dining, and transportation. So feel free to join us for that. Make sure you've checked out that online family orientation module if you haven't yet. Lots of helpful information there. You can look back at it as much as you like. And thank you, Kara. I don't know if you're still with us, but thanks, Kara, for everything you did behind the scenes. Appreciate the help. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for logging in, and be well, be safe.
Bye.